Hi guys, and welcome to your weekly horoscope. This one is for Monday the 30th of January going through until Sunday the 5th of February 2023. I can't believe we're in February already. And this is a weird week. I think your relationships are going to be a little challenging and confusing at times. It's kind of like the opposite of Valentine's Day in a metaphorical sense. I'm getting that there's the potential for a lot of solitude and particularly a tendency to feel wounded and to withdraw. So I'm going to go through each day this week to see what the planets are doing, how they interact, and what energy that creates among themselves, and how that energy then translates to us here on planet Earth and how we're going to be influenced by it. So on Monday, the 30th of January, we've got the moon in Taurus and it trines Pluto in Capricorn. So the moon is really the way you feel, what feels most accessible. And Taurus represents, to me anyway, the feeling I get is a sense of security and a desire to be comfortable and to be surrounded by beautiful things that make you feel better. And the connection with Pluto and Capricorn, it kind of prompts you to consider what things could look like. So you're able to dream about what potentially you could do, but you're not really doing much. So you're thinking about it, but you're not taking any action. The moon then goes into Gemini at 9:35 in the morning. So the pace picks up via that. Gemini is an air sign. It's ruled by Mercury, the communication planet, and it's about exchanging ideas, finding solutions. The Gemini moon then conjuncts Mars in Gemini. So the desire to express and particularly to move on, to move ahead. If you look at the glyph of Gemini, it's a Roman numeral 2. And to me, it represents a doorway. And Mars is about drive and desire and what can I do? So with that placement of the Gemini moon sitting right on top of Mars in Gemini, there will be a huge desire to kind of problem solve and to move on with things. It squares Venus in Pisces, that's the Gemini moon that is. It sextiles Jupiter in Aries, and it trines the sun in Aquarius. So there's a connection to source, creativity is supported by that. Also your own personal interest. You're going to be looking at what you can do for yourself. But, and this is starting slowly here on Monday and gets stronger as the week goes on, a real respect, or not even a respect, a desire to connect with others, to make other people happy, to learn from them. It's more about listening than speaking, which is kind of in conflict with Mars and Gemini. So it starts to get a little unclear even here on Monday. So with the Taurus moon, at the beginning of the day, I think there's a slow start to Monday the 30th. And getting things done on Monday, I think certain things may take longer than you planned for them to take. So if there's any frustration around that, just I would say relax and wait until the day progresses naturally, because with the shift of the moon into Gemini, the pace really does pick up as the day goes on. And what also comes along with that is a great sense of optimism and enthusiasm. So if you have a slow start, don't be concerned about that. Things really start to move. So I also think because we have all this Gemini energy and the sun in Aquarius, it's a great day for learning new subjects and satisfying your curiosity. If there's anything you're interested in, look into it. You'll get a lot out of it. On Tuesday, the 31st of January, we've got the Gemini moon forming a square with Neptune in Pisces. So this is really great for feeling your feelings, having a sense of inner wonder almost. You're creatively kind of stimulated. You have a desire to express yourself. Your dreams may be very loud and may kind of give you messages. So anything that happens internally on an intuitive level, really listen to that. You'll get a lot from that here on Tuesday. The Gemini moon also trines the sun in Aquarius. It sextiles Chiron in Aries and it quincunxes Mercury in Capricorn. So creatively, you're really switched on. Again, you're willing to learn from other people and to communicate. Still here at the beginning of the week, there are certain things like Chiron in Aries represents your own self-interest, and that kind of goes out the window as the week continues. So if there are things that you want to do or resolve, and no one else has really got a stake in it, No one else is really particularly bothered if you do this or not. Those kind of projects pursue at the beginning of the week here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The Gemini moon also quincunxes Mercury in Capricorn. So there's a real willingness to work. You're grounded, you're practical. So Tuesday is, I get the sense that it's really a nice quiet day where you don't have to deal with a lot. It's kind of, you have the quiet and the room and the time to express your creativity, to continue to learn about subjects that kind of interest you. And you're also able to work well and consistently without being distracted. Although I think if you have a choice between working with groups or on your own, I think you'll get a lot more done working by yourself on Tuesday. And that's where this sense of solitude also comes in, because I feel that this week you're consistently going to choose to do things on your own, and you prefer that. You prefer the quiet that comes along with that. Okay, so Wednesday, the 1st of February, the new month here, we've got the Gemini moon forming a square with Neptune and Pisces still. So creatively, you're still very switched on and able. It trines Saturn in Aquarius, and it quincunxes Pluto in Capricorn. So now you become interested in getting information that's practical and that will allow you to make changes in your life. So you're planning ahead a little bit. The moon enters Cancer at 11 minutes past 9 in the evening. So the moon in Cancer is a water sign, and it's very focused on nurturing other people. And I think that's a big shift here and a big turning point in the week, where you start to feel almost guilty about what other people are going through, what's happening for them. And you may feel like it's your duty and your job to support others. So that's great. If you can help other people out and lend a helping hand, great. But if you start to feel responsible for other people's feelings, that to me is a red flag, and I would counsel caution if that comes along. The Sun in Aquarius sextiles Chiron in Aries. So now this is about, what can I learn? What can I study in order to help myself? What's the wisdom that other people have that I can acquire and then use to better my own circumstances? So overall, on Wednesday, the 1st of February, you may start to get some ideas about what you can change in your life. Be careful if there's a solution that pops into your mind, but it also signals massive and drastic changes. Hold off on doing anything like that until you find a better or a less dramatic option. I think there's going to be a tendency on Wednesday to just overreact, to bring down the hammer too heavily. So easy does it. I think a gentle touch is important. So you become frustrated and conflicted with this back and forth. Do I pursue my own needs? And I also need to help other people. So it becomes difficult to see and to decide which one is the way forward. And that indecision, I think, is going to start to feel somewhat frustrating. And that frustration then says and signals, do you know what? I don't want to deal with all of this. I'm just going to withdraw and do my own thing. On Thursday, the 2nd of February, we've got the Cancer moon forming a square with Chiron and Jupiter in Aries. So the conflict really continues. I feel it's my duty to kind of be there for others, but to me, it doesn't feel genuine. It feels much more about guilt. Or it's like there's a demand that you should make other people happy. And I mean, if you've ever tried that consistently, it's pretty draining and exhausting. And also, I would say, it's impossible. I mean, if you give someone a present or you tell them you love them, of course that's going to make them happy in the moment. But if you start to feel responsible for the quality of someone's life, I think that's the road to disaster. And that's the feeling I get here that kind of pervades this week. And that's what you're resisting all the time and saying, oh, I don't want to be dragged into this almost. So the Cancer moon also trines Venus in Pisces. So creativity and connection to the higher realms. It sextiles Uranus in Taurus and quincunxes the Sun in Aquarius. So I want to learn real skills and I want to use my practical know-how to affect changes in future. So Thursday the 2nd, I think, is a great day for self-care. relaxation and creativity. You may start to feel some pressure now from those around you. And I think what I mentioned a moment ago, I think you're going to find that quite difficult to deal with. So if something is unresolved, maintaining an inner certainty and kind of going into situations knowing where you're at, like being resolute about things, that's going to make the whole process less complicated, because I think you'll be swayed quite easily. And that's the thing to avoid, to let yourself be kind of guilted into doing things you don't want to do. Friday, the 3rd of February, we've got the Cancer Moon opposing Mercury and Pluto in Capricorn. So the Cancer Moon is the way you feel. It's a water sign. It's very much about the focus being on others. With the opposition of Mercury and Pluto in Capricorn, there's a sense of connection to your work and to practical, anything tangible in your life, and you may want to take care of that, so to speak. So I want to make my job better, or I want to take care of the house so that it looks better and I feel better in my environment. The Cancer Moon also squares Uranus and Taurus, so I want certain things to change. I'm not so interested in structure and security all the time. It trines Neptune in Pisces and quincunxes Saturn in Aquarius, and those two really influence a lot of the days here. And it's really this ongoing willingness to be told and an ongoing connection with your own intuition and your own creativity. So it's interesting. So you're able to express your own feelings very well. At the same time, there's a lot of pressure from people in your life. And I feel that by delving into the creative side of things, you'll be very productive. But letting yourself be pushed and pulled in every different direction is going to, one, stop the productivity, and it's really going to unsettle you. And I also think there's really the potential to get involved in things that you would, under normal circumstances, never get involved with. So on Friday, the 3rd of February, you're going to be very practical and focused on work. It's a fabulous day to get things done. There is this ongoing willingness to please other people, so watch out for that, and don't let yourself be talked into things. On Saturday, the 4th of February, we've got the Cancer Moon opposing Pluto in Capricorn. So you don't want anything to change now. You want everything to stay the same. Venus in Pisces squares Mars in Gemini. So it's a good day to connect, either, again, spiritually or with other people. Although I think you're going to be quite assertive on this day, and now you're going the other direction, where it's almost like, I've, zipped it all week and I've listened, and now it's time for me to talk. So I feel a major shift here on Saturday. The moon goes into Leo at 9:48 in the morning. So the moon in Leo immediately makes you just much more confident, focused on what you enjoy, what's important to you, and you're able to create distance and to kind of shield yourself from undue influence or pressure. The Leo moon trines Jupiter in Aries, so we've got loads of fire here now. It sextiles Mars in Gemini, and it quincunxes Venus in Pisces. So this is now totally different, and it's like, okay, well, what about my needs? And I want to experience something new for myself. So on Saturday, the energy really does shift, and you may suddenly feel very, very, very assertive. So I would caution you now not to say anything that you may regret later on. The feeling, particularly, that is very suspicious to me, is that you may have this sense that, I've got a bone to pick with you, or I want to right some wrongs here, or I want to correct you. And I don't think, one, that's going to go very well. And second of all, I think your intentions with that aren't the best, because it's much more likely to be about ego and wounded pride than about genuinely righting a wrong. So anything where you feel yourself getting revved up and kind of going, okay, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind, I would hold off on that. And that's the thing that's so frustrating about this week, is this constant sense of push and pull, and do I hold off or do I not hold off, or do I take care of them or me? And it just gets uncomfortable. And when that kind of unresolved friction abounds for so many days, I think that's when people can kick off to just kind of vent and to try and get some change happening. So I don't think any kind of exchange like that where you're pointing your finger and you're saying I didn't like that or whatever, I don't think it actually brings any resolution or serves you in any way. I think it's one of those situations where then later on you may even have to turn around and apologize. So Sunday the 5th of February, we've got the full moon in Leo at 7:28 in the evening. So with the full moon then, obviously the moon in Leo opposes the sun in Aquarius. They're 180 degrees away from each other. So I'll make a separate video on the full moon in Leo. Looking at it via this day, the Leo moon is really what's important to you in your sense of, I'm going to take leadership of my own life. And then the opposition with the sun in Aquarius represents everybody else. So I think it really, and this starting to build up and kind of coming to a climax here on Sunday, this is the conflict, me or them, what I want or what everyone else wants. And I think it's going to be somewhat exhausting. So the Leo moon then also squares Uranus and Taurus. It trines Chiron in Aries, sextiles Mars in Gemini, and it quincunxes Venus in Pisces and Mercury in Capricorn. So it forms relationships with everyone else in the chart, and it echoes really what's happening. You may feel like on your own, and it's like, why am I being exposed to all this pressure? Why is everything coming at little old me? So on Sunday the 5th, I think the pressure and the friction I've been talking about all week here is, it really peaks. And you may find that there's a lot of noise in your life and that it's difficult to kind of resist. So the benefits of the day are good self-care, creativity, and looking at what you want to achieve in future. So the whole thing this week, it seems to be that you're learning to lower the volume, which is interesting for me to say with that. That is interesting. You're learning to lower the volume and to reduce the chaos rather than jumping right into it and becoming a part of it. So it's the response is different. It's almost like you're saying, do you know what, this is not my issue to resolve. I'm not going to get involved with this, and I'm going to sit back and wait it out. Which is an interesting lesson, that sometimes in a situation, the best thing to do is not to act. And that can be very difficult, especially if you're super proactive and you're feeling all this pressure and you just want to jump in and say, well, this is the way it is. So that tendency, I think, is important to resist. And I feel that it's much better to sit back a bit and to watch what's going on and to play that, to use that kind of informed perspective. Yeah. So interesting. Let me know how things go. I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with this week. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, when you get there, scroll down a little bit until you get a button that says book your reading. Click on that to audio reading with me. And in my personal readings, I use astrology, the tarot, and numerology. I combine all three to kind of answer any questions you may have. The astrology chart, I analyze that. That takes me about 30 minutes. And that's like a blueprint of your soul. It tells me a great deal about your life purpose and your relationships, your finances. I look at the progress chart and the transits to see what's coming up in future. The astrocartography when it comes to questions of moving and where the best locations in the world actually are for you. I use the tarot as I go, and I also look at the numbers in terms of your chart. So if your rising sign is at 8 degrees in Pisces, then I look at the 8 and I see what that says. So if you have any questions, if you want a second pair of eyes, if you want to have your chart analyzed, please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share it online. I hope you have a fabulous week. Check out some of my other videos, the daily tarot readings. Have a look at the video I'll make on the full moon in Leo. I'll do that over the next few days. And have a wonderful time. All the best. Take care.